my name's Craig Riedel, and I am running for state representative for Ohio's 82nd House seat. And I'll tell you that, as was mentioned, Mark mentioned, Tony is a funny man. I met Tony about 2 years ago, and it was at a time when I was trying to discern what I wanted to do with my life. I knew that God was talking to me, and I was trying to figure out what direction He was wanting me to go. At that time, 2 years ago, I knew I was going to go move into a political career. But I grew up in a small town called Attica. Maybe you all heard of Attica. It's in Seneca County. It's on the east side of Tiffin, about 17 miles straight east of Tiffin. And I grew up on a farm. And I grew up with 3 brothers. I got beat up pretty good growing up, which was a good thing. And my parents were hardworking folks. My dad was a state trooper up in Elyria for about 4 years in the mid to late 60s. And then after my youngest brother came along, he and my mom realized that they weren't going to be able to raise 4 boys on a state trooper salary back in 1967, because that wasn't going to work. So he left the state patrol and took a job with Ford in Lorraine, which was a heck of quite a pay raise for Dad at that point. So eventually we moved back to Seneca County, and my dad ended up working for Timken in Bucyrus for 30 years, and that's where he retired. My mom was a realtor. So I grew up, I'd say, a very humble upbringing. Built quite a bit of hay in my day and straw, so I was taught a good work ethic at a young age. I graduated from a small high school, it's called Seneca East, and went on to Ohio State, and I earned a civil engineering degree from Ohio State. Shortly after graduating, my wife and I, this is my wife, by the way, Danette over here, I'm sorry, in the white. And Danette and I got married shortly after graduating from college. And at about the same time, I took a job with Nucor Steel over here in Indiana. I think probably most everyone's probably heard of Nucor, particularly around here. There's a lot of friends from Paulding that still, that work at Nucor.
Is that Butler?
That's Steel Dynamics.
Oh,
Either
is Waterloo?
Waterloo is Nucor Building Systems.
Okay.
What's on 101? Is it 101?
That's where I work. That's
So it's a 1 or 101?
101
Yeah,
and 1.
yeah.
Or close to that. It's actually County Road 60 and Route 101, but there's actually 2 Nucor facilities right at that location. There's a bolt plant, and then I worked at a division of Nucor called Ballcraft. And what we did there is we fabricated steel trusses.
What'd you do?
And that's what I did. I have a minor in structural engineering. So when I first hired
You
in
know
there,
my brother, Larry Wonderly.
oh yeah, good friends. Yeah, I've known Larry for a long time.
You're in trouble.
Oh no, I know. If that's good or bad.
Very low.
Larry?
I know he's a big Buckeye. I know that for certain. But yeah, I hired in the fall of '88, and I designed steel trusses as an engineer for 3 years. And then, and at that time, Danette and I, we actually lived in an apartment in Fort Wayne for a few months. And then in the fall of '89, we actually bought a house in Defiance. In 1991, I changed roles with Ballcraft. I moved from engineering into a sales role. And at that point, they shipped us up to Grand Rapids, Michigan, and we thought we were done with Defiance. It was a nice day. We fell in love with that community real quickly. But we didn't think we'd ever be back. We thought that was it. And so we were off to Grand Rapids, and at that point, what I was doing was representing our company to all of our customer base in Western Michigan. Great city, loved Grand Rapids, great city. We were there for 4 years, from '91 to '95, and then in '95, Ballcraft transferred us from Grand Rapids, Michigan down to Springfield, Ohio. And same thing, was doing the exact same thing, except for it was a larger territory. At that point, I was working with our customer base in Cincinnati and Dayton and Columbus. We loved it in Springfield. Thought we were setting in some roots. About every time we thought we were digging in, it was time to move to the next
The
location.
wind blew and there you
God
go.
every time we got set comfortable, he said, hit the road. But we were in Springfield for 8 years, from 1995 to the summer of '02. And in the summer of '02, Volcraft Nucor asked Danette and I to come back to be, they wanted me to become the divisional sales manager at the plant, which put me in charge of all of our sales in the Midwest, Ohio, Indiana, Michigan, Illinois, Western PA. And anyways, at that point, Danette and I knew, because that meant I needed to come back to the plant and work at that facility over there on 101 in County Road 60. It's about 6 miles straight west of Hicksville. And but we knew right away we were going to move back to Defiance, because we just enjoyed those 3 years we were there before. So, and we still had friends back in Defiance, so we moved back to Defiance. So that's kind of my loop there with Nucor and how we ended up back in this area. I'd say it was about 4 to 5 years ago. I started feeling this pull, this tug on my heart. I was not happy with the leadership that we were getting on the federal level in particular. What I consider to be a very divisive president, and I just felt like the leadership I felt on both sides. It wasn't just the Democratic Party. I feel the Republican side is got a lot of improving to do as well, but just a total lack of leadership on that level. And you work with a company like Nucor. These are some of the things I've learned. I feel I have leadership abilities. You don't move forward with a corporation like Nucor without learning that to be successful, to accomplish goals, to get things done, it takes hard work, tremendous hard work. It takes enthusiasm. It takes a positive attitude. But you got to work with people. And I'm good at that. I'm a very good communicator. I like people. I care about people. And I realize that to get things done, it takes teamwork. It takes teamwork to get things done. And you got to be good at bringing people together from every angle. And I feel that these are some strengths and attributes that I bring that, and they maybe I'm being a little naive here, and I probably am, but that's okay. That's when I get elected, that's the exact attitude I'm going to take to Columbus. And my hope is when I get there, I'll run into people that think that same way, that care about Northwest Ohio, that care about Ohio, the state of Ohio, and care deeply about this country. That is, to a point where hopefully they're fed up like us, and I find those people when we dig in and we try to move this thing. Maybe it's just a little bit, but I'm not giving up. So I would say the defining moment for us, for Danette and I, was, and I didn't realize this till last week in Van Wert when I was talking. It hit me right then and there. It was the 2012 election, the presidential election, and when this country elected Barack Obama for the second time. I remember being so dismayed and so disappointed in our country. And I was driving home that night, and I probably scared Danette because I was so angry. But it was at that moment I think that I knew I was gonna do this. I thought, I'm done depending or counting on other people. I'm gonna get involved. I'm gonna get involved. So about a year ago, Danette and I made a decision we were gonna move forward with this. So I started making plans for my retirement from Nucor. I retired from Nucor earlier this summer, back in June. I had 27 years with Nucor. It was the only company that I ever worked with. One company. And she's the only wife I've ever been married to. So there's some consistency there. I'm a pretty dedicated person. But those are the reasons why I'm running. I feel a calling, is what I'm saying. I feel truly a calling from God. I love this country, like everybody in this room loves this country. And I'm all in. I'm putting my money where my mouth is, and we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this, and I'm confident that I'm gonna win. And as I mentioned earlier, nothing that Mr. Berkeley has done or hasn't done, he's a good man. This is just what I feel I have to do, okay? So, Danette and I, like I mentioned, we've been married for 27 years. We have 2 adult children, and we're proud to say they're both Defiance High School graduates. They're both Ohio State graduates, and they're paying taxes. They're paying taxes. I would say that, oh, by the way, I have no political background. I think that's important to know. Okay, I have 27 years of private business experience. I have no political background. I'll tell you some of the objectives I have when I get elected, and we've touched on it here this evening. Is one thing that I'll be a pit bull about is federal overreach and unnecessary regulations, because I've been a part of it. I've watched what they do with companies like Nucor. They just literally try to throw the handcuffs on it, the Dodd-Frank and things of that nature. So push back on federal overreach, okay? Lowering taxes. I'm totally opposed to Common Core, okay? I think we've taken from our teachers the reason they wanted to be teachers, taking it away from them. Why would you want to be a teacher when the federal government's telling you how to do your job? These people want to grow children. They want to mentor them. They want to make them the people that we need them to become. And we don't, teachers, they become administrators, so I'm completely opposed to Common Core. So those are a few of my objectives, and I'll tell you, when I get elected, what I plan on doing is being in the district, meeting people, finding out what it is that we are concerned about, okay? Because I am your representative in Columbus, and for me to be able to do that job well, I have to understand what it is that has you concerned. So that means that's a lot of hard work. That's a lot of hard work, and how are you going to do that? I guess I'll find out on the trough. I'll just have to find out how that's going to work. But that's what I'm planning on doing. So I don't have all the answers. Like I mentioned, I don't have any political background, so I'm pretty sure I'll get down there and get beat up pretty good. But I think that's okay. We need some new ideas. We need somebody that doesn't have these blinders on. So my heart's in the right place. I truly want to serve. I truly do. And I love this country. And I will give this everything I've got. And I may fall flat on my face, but I promise you I'll give it everything I have.
We just want you to get up.
Yeah.
That's all we're asking.
I will get up. I will get up, because I've been knocked down before, and I will get up. That's one nice thing about having 3 brothers. You get knocked down. So I mentioned earlier, I'll be on the March 15th Republican primary ballot. And just wanted to meet you all tonight, and I appreciate you guys giving me the time to meet you. So